Hi everyone, this is Hannah with Dana Girls Designs, and I wanted to do a video showing you the first junk journal kit, Valentine's Day themed, that I have put together. I'm getting some kits put together that will be available maybe by the end of next week, for sure by the 1st of February. So this is what I've got put together. This is how the kit will come. And let's see where to get started here. Now on this, let's see here, you'll be getting two tea-stained or tea-dyed envelopes. These are just regular standard envelopes that I had tea-stained, and like in the inside kind of like watermarked, like kind of to look old. And then here's the pages. These are different pages that I had copied out of some books. This is out of a Hallmark book that was printed in the 60s or 70s, in which my video showing my Goodwill haul for vintage books, it shows that book on there. So I copied a page out of it, and then I tea-stained it just to make it look old. So I thought this was really neat about Valentine's Day. And then this is out of a Farmer's Almanac. It's not really retro themed. I'm trying to kind of do retro themed, you know, like 50s, 60s, 70s. Some things are kind of hard to get your hands on. But so I'm basically just including this. I just think it looked neat, but it's from an 1803 Farmer's Almanac. So I copied the page out and tea-stained it. And then this is out of a romance novel, Voyage to Love. And this is the last page of that book. And I had tea-stained it as well. And then this is out of a book, like a camping book, how to tie knots. And I thought it would just kind of be neat, you know, the expression, you know, tied the knot. And then this one is knots for joining. So I just thought that would be really neat. So I copied it out of the book. And this was from, it was a 60s or 70s book as well, which is in my haul video. So I copied it and tea-stained it. And then this also was I think a 1966 cookbook. And you know, chocolate, you always think of chocolate and flowers, you know, for Valentine's. So I copied this page, and I tea-stained it. You know, like when you print something and then tea-stain it, especially with this, I guess because it had so much ink, it kind of like blurs out to make it look old, which I thought it was kind of neat. You know, how it did that. And then here was the page next to it in the book that I had copied and tea-stained. So, and some of the recipes are actually really good looking. I'm actually going to have to try out some of those recipes. And then this is a piece of ledger paper that I had found online and printed it on some printer paper. So I thought it looked really neat looking. And then this is 15 pages, 8.5 by 11, tea-dyed paper. It's just regular printer paper that I tea-dyed. So when you fold it in half to do your journal, it would be 30 pages. Plus, you have all of these other pages as well, and then envelopes. Then also for a bonus, you know, here's a sheet of vellum. This is like an 8 by 10 sheet of vellum. Then here are some neat looking pieces of cardstock that I had in my stash. And I thought, you know, they kind of look vintage, like kind of retro vintage. So, and these are all 12 by 12 cardstock, which I did show some of this in a preview of the journals, what I had put together so far, and it was this one, which of course I've completed. This is some faux leather, it's a dark brown. I'm trying to think what color exactly. Maybe like a dark walnut, not quite as dark as an espresso walnut, but this is cut down. It's actually, I think, about 14 by 14 inches, but I wanted to make sure that it would be plenty, you know, to wrap your book, or, you know, manila folder, or whatever you would be using, you know, for the actual journal part itself. Some people take old books and gut the pages out and then wrap the, you know, the hard cover of the book, which is really neat. Or some people just, you know, take manila folder, you know, different kinds of paper, Mod Podge it to make it thick. So this would be to wrap around it, and it's got like a almost like a, well, not really a felt, but it's like a fabric lining. And then let's see here, and then to go with that is also some other fabric. This is a piece of like some kind of a canvas material, almost like cross stitching. If you're familiar with cross stitching, it's almost like that. But I thought that was pretty neat looking. It's just random script on there, like cursive script, and then also some cheesecloth, and it goes out like this, but then it's doubled. You know, and I'll have all the exact measurements in the listing whenever I do get them uploaded. But yeah, see, tear it apart, so it's double that. And then also a sheet of muslin material. And I just left it the white color. It's kind of like an eggshell white, and I just left it like that. It's about 13 inches by 13 inches. And then let's see here. And then also I found these fabrics at Joann's, and I thought they just, I really liked it. It kind of has that vintage look to it. And so I'm not sure what that measures. It's bigger than a 12 by 12. It's more like maybe a 14 by 18 or something. But anyway, it's plenty, and I'll have the exact measurements in the listing. But see, isn't that nice? How it's really got almost like a gold in it. I thought it was really pretty, and would work really well with the cardstock sheets, and, you know, of course the other sheets in there, just to give nice splash of color. And then of course this page, you know, definitely looks retro with the colors and the design. Kind of get a close up there. Isn't that just so pretty? Just so pretty. So you'll be getting, you know, all of that fabric. So that is plenty, you know, to do the junk journal. Okay, and then here's the goodie bag with the nuts and bolts of everything here. So we'll just open it up. Okay. Let's see. So the first thing, you know, it'll have my business card, and then on the back some more information, and then 2 spools of thread, and it's kind of like a almost like a crimson color, cranberry. Well, it's more like a brick red than a cranberry color, but it's really pretty, which would work really well in with this, you know, to stitch your pages, or even to stitch your lining. You know, you can use one of these pages, you know, the fabric as the lining, or the muslin, and it would look really nice to, you know, stitch that along there, or even for decorative stitching. Also, here's some buttons. Some of these are vintage buttons, and then some of these are just buttons that look vintage, like this. This white one here is a vintage button. And then this like cream colored button, that one's vintage too. And then these other ones, these are just buttons that I had. Oh, and that pink one, that light pink one's vintage. I actually bought it at a thrift store. Well, it's probably been a year ago now, or maybe almost 2 years ago. And I had bought a pack, and I came across some really good deals in there. Bought a couple packs of buttons and some lace. So you get those. And then here's also a do-it-yourself charm kit, and it comes, you know, with a bunch of stuff, as you can see. I kind of probably went crazy with the beads, but I wanted to make sure you'd have plenty. And this includes, you know, a little spool with, it's called monofilament. It's like fishing line, clear. It's not stretchy, it's just clear, like fishing line. And then you get some gold beads. These are like, I don't know, maybe a 10 or 12 millimeter gold beads. It's got some little roses in there. Here's a little, I think this is maybe Tim Holtz. I can't remember. But I liked it with the little sticker. I'm trying to get it to focus in maybe a. There we go. Isn't that so pretty? And so just some different beads. There's a lot of actual crystal beads, Swarovski crystals. There's glass faceted beads. There's freshwater pearls. There's a little, that's a little stone bead. That's the freshwater pearl. This is just the glass that they paint, you know, pearl bead. So, and then here's like little connector, and then there's some little hearts in there, and some gold chain, some connectors. You get 5 of the connectors, also 5 of the eye pins. They've got the little, if we can see it here, the little hole at the bottom, a couple of the these little fish hook things. You know, so just a bunch of different stuff. Then also, you know, to put that together, if you wanted to wrap the charm around the journal, here's some black elastic cord. It's a yard of this, as well as a yard of this monofilament or fishing line. Also a yard of waxed linen to actually sew your pages to the cover. And I do have a video showing a junk journal that I had put together, and then there's also you know, a bunch of videos on YouTube. Excuse me, a bunch of videos on YouTube as well, you know, that show it. This is some floral tape, floral fabric tape. And then, let's see here, we've got, this is some crinkle seam binding, crinkled seam binding. Seeing if I can maybe zoom. Yeah, there we go. I'm trying to focus it a little better. And so just some different beads. There's a lot of actual crystal beads. There's a and I had just stained it with a couple of different colors and kind of gave it like a I mean, it's like a pink with a little bit of like yellowed light pink, which is really neat. It you know, it looks really good, you know, with the paper. You know, it's kind of a mellow tone. And then here is I'm not sure, this might be about a foot. This is actual vintage trim. Let's see here what else. This is vintage trim, this green color. So pretty. This is maybe 2 feet, 2.5 feet maybe, but I'll have all the measurements, of course, in the listing. This is some red eyelet trim. So pretty. I thought that would, it just looks you know, so so retro. And I'm not sure if this is vintage or not. I know I got it from my grandma, and most of it is vintage. I know you can still buy this red eyelet trim, so I mean, if anything, it's probably from the 90s, which, I mean, that's what, almost 30 years old now. So and then this is some trim here. I think this is maybe about a foot. Some of it's kind of stuck together. And then I think this is, well, I think this is about maybe a foot or so. It's like a baby pink, like 1/2 inch trim. So pretty. And then also some of these trims here. Now this, really it's 2 trims, but the way it came, it was like interwoven. So it could be 2, or you could just have it as 1. And it's, I think this is a foot of this red. And then this, it's the same thing. This both was interwoven, so you can, you know, you can wrap it back around each other, or just leave it separate, and it's a foot of each of those. Okay, and then, so that was the lace pack there. Then we've got the rest of some goodies, the ephemera. And each of them are in these glassine bags that I taped to some printer paper and printed out these images. So these are actual vintage images, you know, like postcards or Valentine's cards, and I printed on here. So let's see, we'll go through this first bag. Now the first thing is clip arts, more like maybe from the 40s. I had gotten them out of a book. I copied them out of a book on some cardstock, and it was like, it's clip arts from the 20s, 30s, and 40s, but it looks more like maybe in the 40s. Alright, so we got that. And then these are so cute. These are Tim Holtz, the photo booth pictures. And so I cut these out. I thought they were so cute. So there's a couple there. I cut out the ones I could find that were smiling. So many of the vintage pictures, nobody was smiling. And then this here is a 1956 like pocket calendar that was printed by the New Haven Railroad, and they only had about 2 or 3 years that actually printed this out. So someone had scanned this in online, so it, you know, it was free to use, so I printed this out. I thought that was really neat. And then I had showed some of these in the last video. These are just some different ephemera pieces off of the public domain. You can get a lot. It used to be easier access to get these. I know when I first started saving them onto my computer, maybe about 3 years ago, it was so much easier. And then whenever I would go back, maybe a couple months later, then then I couldn't find it anymore. It was like, oops. This is a Valentine postcard, and I made it into a small, like a 2 by 3 inch, little small card. Then here's another card here. These are some little mini envelopes, little 2 by 3 inch envelopes, and then a couple of playing cards. Okay. And I had picked out the 7 of Hearts. Whoops. I keep slipping out of my hand. Sorry about that. I had picked out the 7 of Hearts because, you hear lucky 7. And then I also picked out the 2 because, a couple makes a pair. So, okay. And so here's some other pieces. This is a vintage ice cream receipt. Thought this was really neat. You think of couples going to the ice cream shop and, getting a float or, soda pop or, things like that, like in the 40s and the 50s. I remember watching Ozzie and Harriet, and they would go down to the, the parlor or, ice cream parlor or shop. Then here's some vintage library cards that was actually used. You can see it started out in 1934, went to 1962. Isn't that neat? So that was a scan, and I had printed it out on cardstock. And then this is just a couple of tags. 7 gypsy tags, I believe. So I thought it went with, everything meshed real well. And this is a layaway tag. Okay, and let's see here what else. This is a couple of some kind of a receipt. I printed these out on printer paper. Then this is a postcard, vintage Valentine's postcard. So I printed it out and cut it out and inked the edges. And then this was also a vintage Valentine's card. I thought this was so cute, and this I printed it out as a 4 by 6, and it's just the front part of the card. And let's see here. So that is pretty much it. This is the kit that I have got put together so far. I am working also on a Boho journal as well, and I will give you a sneak peek of the materials for that. So I'm pulling the stuff out of the bag here, and I'm so excited to do the Boho theme, Bohemian theme, just because it's something different than what I normally do. So I'm just really excited about it. So this is what I've got so far. I had picked up some different fabrics from Joann's. This is almost like a velvet corduroy material, and then this is just some a cotton blend. Isn't that so pretty? And then this is a dark. The color on the screen's more like a Concord grape color, but it's really more like a wine color, more like maybe a red violet color. And then here's some gold fabric with the black dots in it. But I thought as far as the gold fabric itself that was pretty neat. And then also I picked up these feathers, the colors, the purple and, like almost like a gold color and the red. And these matched really well with these beads that I had picked up at the store too. Kind of going with reds and purples, real bold colors. And then picked up some they call them findings, jewelry findings of this. It's like a bronze color. And I also have some copper sequins, but I thought I had them right here, but I don't. So, but that will be included in as well. And then, of course, for the cover, you know, either you could do this, or we will. I will be including the faux leather, so you could do that for the outside, this for the inside, you know, or this pretty material as the, you know, as the lining. You know, it will give you choices, just like this other kit here, you know, gives plenty of choices with that many pieces of fabric. So, but anyway, this is just a showing of the retro vintage junk journal kit I've got put together, fixing to get started on the boho themed kit. And so if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them below. As I'm making some progress on these kits, I will be uploading another video for y'all probably sometime next week. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope y'all have a good evening. Bye.